Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel, True Crime Morals, your go-to source for gripping true crime stories, deep dives into unsolved mysteries, murder cases, chilling criminal investigations, and many other crime stories, giving valuable moral lessons on safety measures. Each week we explore the dark and twisted world of real-life crimes, from notorious serial killers to cold cases that have haunted investigators for decades. With in-depth crime analysis, detailed timelines, and expert commentary, we bring you the facts behind the headlines. Ensure to hit the subscribe button and notification bell, share to stay updated with all our grueling true crime stories. Watch till the end, and remember to leave a comment on how we can improve and make this channel more gripping and interesting for you. Today we will listen and dissect insights from this important issue of trust. And here is my true life story. Relax and listen keenly to the end and share me your thoughts in the comment. I will never forget the sound of that gun clicking. For a moment I thought I was dead. My heart stopped, my breath caught in my throat, and I felt the world spin around me. But there was no pain, no blood, only the cold realization that I had just witnessed the deepest betrayal of my life. My name is Mr. Eze, and I have always believed in honesty, kindness, and loyalty, maybe too much. I was a successful civil servant in Enugu, Nigeria. My life was simple: work hard, provide for my family, and help those around me. One of those people was Ibe, my childhood friend. We grew up together, ran barefoot through the dusty roads of our village, shared food when we had none, and dreamt of a better future. I found success in my government job, but Ibe struggled in business. He was not as educated, not as lucky, and so I helped him whenever I could, never questioning his intentions. I announced my retirement after years of service. The government had paid me my retirement benefits, a good sum that would sustain my family and ensure a comfortable life. The news spread, as things always do in Enugu. People congratulated me, wished me well, and I felt proud. Ibe was there too, smiling, patting my back, telling me how happy he was for me. Then one evening, everything changed. I was taken. Kidnappers, ruthless men with cold eyes and sharper knives. They dragged me from my car, blindfolded me, and threw me into the back of a van. I was taken to a hidden place, deep in the forest. I could hear the distant howls of animals, the rustling of leaves, the murmurs of men who saw me as nothing more than a payday. When they removed the blindfold, they gave their demand: my entire retirement money. It was an impossible request, but I knew I had no choice. My family, desperate and terrified, gathered the money. As they made the transfer, a strange thought crossed my mind. Even in the depths of my fear, I thought of Ibe. I asked the kidnappers if I could spare a little, just a small part of the money, to help my friend with his struggling business. The kidnappers laughed, muttered among themselves, but did not refuse. Then came the twist that shattered me. One morning I woke up to find a new prisoner in the den. His hands were tied behind his back, his eyes filled with terror. It was Ibe. I couldn't believe it. My best friend, kneeling before the men who held me captive. One of the kidnappers came forward, his voice laced with amusement. You see, old man, this friend of yours, he is the one who sold you out. He told us about your retirement money. He planned this, he wanted it all. The world around me cracked like glass. My body went numb. Ibe couldn't look me in the eye. Tell him! The kidnapper barked. Ibe stammered, shaking. Izzy, I didn't mean... They handed me a gun, a cold, heavy weapon, its weight unfamiliar in my trembling hands. Shoot him, the kidnapper said. You trusted him. He betrayed you. Now kill him. I couldn't move. My fingers refused to obey. My whole life I had never harmed a soul. How could I do this? How could I end the life of the boy I once played in the river with, the man I called my brother? I dropped the gun. The kidnappers sighed in disappointment. One of them picked up the weapon and handed it to Ibe. Fine, he said. If you won't kill him, let's see if he feels the same way. Ibe's hands wrapped around the gun. He looked at me, sweat dripping down his face, and then... Bang! I fell back. My body went cold. I thought it was over. But there was no pain. I opened my eyes to see the kidnappers laughing. The gun had been empty, a blank shot. Ibe had pulled the trigger without hesitation. I had risked my life for him. I had thought of him, even in my darkest moments. And without a second thought, he had tried to kill me. The kidnappers shook their heads, disgusted. You see now, old man, you trusted too much. Let this be your lesson. Then they turned to Ibe and shot him in the head. The sound rang through the air, final and merciless. And then, unbelievably, they returned my money, every single naira. I walked out of that forest a free man, but I left a part of myself behind. My heart, once so full of trust and kindness, had turned to stone. To this day, I live with the memory of that moment, of the cold gun in my hands, the click of the trigger, and the sight of my best friend choosing greed over brotherhood. I am still kind, still honest, but I have learned the hardest lesson of my life. Not everyone deserves your trust. These are some valuable lessons I learned so far from that ugly incident and would love to share. Trust is one of the most valuable things we can give or receive. It shapes our relationships, our decisions, and even our sense of security in the world. But if there's one thing I've learned in life, it's that trust, when given carelessly, can lead to some of the deepest pains and regrets. I've seen friends betray each other, family members deceive one another, and even business partners turn on each other for selfish gains. Over the years, I've learned that trust should not be given freely. It must be earned. Trust is not just about believing that someone will always do the right thing. It's about knowing that they have the character, consistency, and reliability to honor their word. I have made the mistake of assuming that because someone was kind to me once, they would always be kind. I have trusted people simply because I thought I knew them well, but time has taught me that trust is more complex than familiarity or shared history. One of the most important lessons I've learned is to trust actions more than words. People can say anything to gain your trust, but their actions will always reveal their true intentions. I once had a friend who constantly assured me that he had my back, yet every time I needed help, he had an excuse. In contrast, another friend rarely made promises, but whenever I was in trouble, he showed up without hesitation. That's when I realized trust isn't built on words, it's built on consistent actions over time. Trust should never be given all at once. If you meet someone new, don't hand them your secrets, your money, or your full confidence immediately. Test the waters. Give them small responsibilities and see how they handle them. I learned this the hard way when I entrusted a business partner with a large sum of money without first testing his integrity. He disappeared, and I was left with a painful lesson. If someone cannot be trusted with something small, they cannot be trusted with something big. Many times we ignore warning signs because we want to believe in people. We see dishonesty, selfishness, or unreliability, but we make excuses for them. I used to think that if I was patient enough, people would change. The truth is, while people can grow, their core character remains largely the same. If someone has shown a pattern of betrayal, disloyalty, or dishonesty in the past, there's a good chance they will do it again. Emotions can make us trust blindly. When we love someone, whether it's a friend, family member, or romantic partner, we want to believe they will never hurt us. But love should not replace wisdom. I've seen people stay in toxic relationships because they trust that the other person will change. I've seen parents overlook their children's destructive behavior because they trust they will mature. Sometimes the hardest truth to accept is that trust should not be given where it has not been deserved. A wise person once told me, "Trust but verify." This means that while it's okay to believe in someone, it's also important to have safeguards in place. If you lend money, have an agreement. If you go into business, have a contract. If you share a secret, make sure it's with someone who has proven their loyalty over time. Trusting wisely does not mean being paranoid. It means being cautious and prepared. Not everyone is untrustworthy. Some people will protect your secrets, stand by you in tough times, and prove their loyalty in ways that go beyond words. When you find such people, treasure them. But remember, even with them, trust should be mutual and earned over time. My final thoughts. Trusting wisely does not mean never trusting anyone. It means trusting with awareness, patience, and wisdom. I have learned to give trust gradually, to observe actions, and to never let emotions blind me. And most importantly, I have learned that trust, once broken, is almost impossible to fully restore. So my advice these days is this: trust, but be wise about it. Your entire life may depend on it.